Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to introduce to you and through you to members of the Assembly a group of leaders from our First Nations, Métis and Métis communities that are with us here today. Mr. Speaker, they're sitting in your gallery, and I'd ask that they stand as I read their names. From the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, we have Commissioner Marie Wilson. Education Day Coordinator, Charlene Bearhead. President of the Métis Nation Association of Alberta, Audrey Poitras, and the Assembly of First Nations Regional Vice Chief, Cameron Alexis. In a few moments, I'll be speaking about the Truth and Reconciliation Commission events that took place recently here in Edmonton, and I'm grateful for our guests' attendance here today, and through them for all the work that was done by the leadership of the Commission and by the Commissioners and by all those who acted on their behalf to ensure that we had the event that we had to really discuss an issue of prime importance to Albertans and Canadians. Mr. Speaker, I'd ask all members to join me in thanking these dedicated individuals and the individuals they represent for the countless hours of work that they do for our community and for our people. Please give them the traditional warm welcome.
Ministerial statements.
The Honourable Premier and Minister of Innovation and Advanced Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's a great privilege for me to rise today to recognize the Truth and Reconciliation Commission having held its 7th and final national event in the city of Edmonton from March 27th to the 30th. 4 years ago, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission held its first national event in the city of Winnipeg, the city with then the largest urban Aboriginal population in the country. It was fitting that the final national event should take place here, as Edmonton has the second highest Aboriginal population in the country and growing. Indian residential schools operated in our country for 130 years, and approximately 150,000 children attended those schools. In Alberta, there were 25 Indian residential schools, the most in any province or territory. And today, there are 12,000 survivors in Alberta, the second highest number in Canada. Over the 4 days of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission gathering, over 400 residential school survivors related their experiences in those schools and the profound impact on the lives of themselves, their families, and their communities. Parental, family, and cultural breakdown led to profound emotional and spiritual consequences for generations of children. Over the 4 days that I was able to attend, I was touched to hear the experiences of the survivors, and I'm still in awe of the courage they displayed by sharing such personal experiences. It was heartwarming to be there with the record number of Albertans and Western Canadians in attendance at the Commission gathering. I was so pleased also to see so many community leaders attending. I commend Alberta ministers and MLAs who attended the national event, and I would specifically reference the member from Slave Lake who was an honorary listener during the event. Lesser Slave Lake. We were all there to learn and to listen, to understand this part of our history better. I'd also like to thank Mayor Naheed Nenshi and Mayor Don Iveson of Calgary and Edmonton, as well as the Mayor of Wetaskiwin, Bill Elliott, for providing a declaration of a year of reconciliation. We look forward to working with them as to how that year of reconciliation can make a difference in our relationships and our results. Part of the work of the Commission, Mr. Speaker, is to help people understand the history of Indian residential schools and to engage Canadians in conversations and expressions of reconciliation about those schools and about the people who were affected. The history of Indian residential schools is not solely an Aboriginal history. It is a shared history. It is our history. It was a proud moment when the Minister of Aboriginal Relations announced to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission how Alberta will move forward through our expression of reconciliation. The Minister of Education is leading some bold work for provincial kindergarten to grade 12 curriculum to include enhanced mandatory content for all Alberta students on the significance of residential schools and treaties. The Government of Alberta commits to continuing work on professional development so that teachers learn about the history and legacy of the residential schools and First Nations, Métis and Inuit peoples, and are better prepared to meet the needs of First Nations, Métis and Inuit children and youth. The public national events for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission may have concluded, but the work, Mr. Speaker, continues. We have an opportunity to write a new chapter in our relationship with Aboriginal people, a chapter with a richer and fuller understanding of their experiences and the contributions that Aboriginal people make to our province. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, the history of Aboriginal people in Alberta is our history. It's an essential part of our history. And the future of Aboriginal people in this province is our future. Alberta will continue to build its relationship with Aboriginal people to ensure that First Nations, Métis and Inuit people have every advantage to benefit from Alberta's tremendous economy and great quality of life. Aboriginal people in Alberta deserve to have the same socioeconomic status as all other Albertans, Mr. Speaker, and we are committed to that.